A once verdant land, blessed by the heavens and given secrets from below. What happened then for this chosen nation to be cursed to doom by ice and snow? This is the story of Dragonspine Mountain, the ancient civilization that once called it home, and the strange connections they had to both Celestia and the Abyss. So, let's get started. In the beginning of recorded history, life was weak and the earth was blanketed in unending ice. As the eternal ice had begun to thaw, the first fires brought with them a time of great prosperity. Thus began the Age of Illumination. They say that the people of the land could hear revelations from Celestia directly, and that the envoys of the gods walked among an unenlightened humanity. Upon Dragonspine, a great city was built named Sal Vindagnyr, meaning something like Soul of the Flowing Winds in Icelandic. We don't know exactly when this city was built, but it predated Old Mondstadt over 2,600 years ago, as we see in Roald's diary. Old Mondstadt fairy tales speak of the mountain as a place of punishment that was abandoned by the wind of time and left for the howling winds to sweep in and freeze everything in its moment of destruction. Yet something still stirs here at the peak of the mountain. I heard its call in my dream. It was a gentle song, pleasing to the ear, but somehow disturbing to the mind. In the ancient murals, we see that Celestia was once located above Dragonspine, and that the priest of Sal Vindagnyr received gifts from the divine envoys. The gift we see in this mural is quite interesting. It shows the commonly seen triquetra symbol that appears on Mora, Paimon's clothing, and many other places with connections to Celestia. But this time it has another triquetra that has been inverted over it, forming a symbol like a flower or the structure of an atom, possibly hinting that the gifts given were in the form of scientific knowledge, sort of like a group of scientists today going back to the medieval times and teaching them about atomic structures. They would likely see it as magic or a divine blessing, and if they understood it, their civilization would advance to a new age. The mountain housed a great silver-white tree that's roots stretched down into the depths and canopy crowned its summit, while Celestia rained down its blessings from above. When the daughter of the priestess of Vindagnyr was born beneath this white tree, the king in the verdant mountain was filled with joy when she received her blessings. Surely the blessing of Sal Vindagnyr would be everlasting, just as the undying silver-white tree whose roots pierce the earth. The people would offer their sacrifices to the gods, and we can see in the murals that the people are being ordered to carry heavy loads up the mountain by their king. This could be the king ordering his people to build the city at the top of the mountain, after receiving the divine wisdom from the envoys, but it could also be that Celestia had them mining for star silver, a rare resource unique to Dragonspine. After the city was built, the divine envoys came to the priests. The envoys of heaven said that the world would soon enter a new and brighter age. This was predestined, that future immutable. As long as life was good, humanity did not seem to care that their future was unable to be changed, though some of the more curious would question the envoys. Would a day come when such wonderful times might come to an end? To this question, the envoys gave no answer. And so, the people chose from among them a chief priest. Adorning his head with a crown of white branches, they sent him out into the deep places of the world, to antediluvian ruins and long-buried altars of sacrifice, to seek answers and enlightenment. The crown of branches was likely created from the silver-white tree growing within Dragonspine, known as an Irminsul, which means great pillar in Old Saxon. It's from the same source as the petrified trees and the ley lines in the game. It also has links to the world tree Yggdrasil from Norse mythology, which is the cosmic tree that connects the 9 worlds upon its branches, similar to how the spiral abyss links other worlds. The description of the leyline sprouts held by abyss mages add to the idea of the Irminsul tree being similar to Yggdrasil. It is said that there was a great tree whose roots once spread out to every corner of the world, and this branch is said to be a part of it. It is almost as if it was never broken off and taken far away, for its vitality is such that it still sprouts new leaves even now. This great tree could very well be the one within Dragonspine, as it is the oldest and largest we have ever heard of, and is the progenitor to the next largest, the frost-bearing tree. As for the antediluvian ruins, they are likely referencing the Spiral Abyss, a massive underground city constructed by an ancient civilization long ago. To this day, the purpose of this underground city remains unknown. Its structure is divided into the Abyss Corridor, which connects worlds, and the Abyssal Moonspire, which leads to the unknown. It is now collectively named the Spiral Abyss. It is said that many secrets and treasures that have been long forgotten by this world lay buried within. Antediluvian means before the Great Flood, which could hint that this ancient civilization was destroyed by a great flood, hidden beneath the waves to be lost to history. Some evidence to support this happening is Musk Reef. Once known as Pylos Peak, it was the highest mountain in Mondstadt 2,000 years ago, but its summit is now barely above sea level. It is also the only entrance to the Spiral Abyss that we have found so far. Having learned some of the secrets of the world, a new age came upon humanity. The first falling rains extinguished the ancient flames, and brought with them a period of bountiful harvest. This started the Age of Destiny. The earth was blessed and ruled by heaven, and the elemental flows were smooth and well ordered. 100 years of bounty were written in the stars, and none could change this divine law. But again, humanity would question the destiny set out before them. But what of the time after? 100, 1,000 years from now? Would they have famine where they had plenty? Poverty where once were riches? Would their altars and palaces become one with the soil, with only that silver-white tree for company? The heavenly envoys, whoever spoke what they knew, were silent. So, to understand this doom, the chief priest, head crowned with white branches, would delve into the deep places of the world. At this point, humanity had some idea of the cyclical nature of teyvat, due to the hidden knowledge gained from the Abyss and the teachings of the divine envoys. They feared they would come to the same fate as the previous civilizations, becoming buried and forgotten by future generations. It is not known what the priests learned in the Abyss exactly, but the technology of Dragonspine seems to have been of a similar level to that of Shneznaya and Khaenri'ah, both nations enemies of Celestia and linked to the Abyss. So the Abyss seems to have housed an advanced civilization that created war machines to challenge Celestia in the distant past. It is likely a power from another world that entered through the Spiral Abyss into teyvat, as the Rune Hunter's description describes it as a giant alien war machine. They are said to be the remnants from a lost ancient nation. Why the people of Sal Vindagnyr would keep these war machines is likely due to the uncertainty they had about the future. If the Divine were to deal them a bad hand, then they were a contingency to go against that preordained fate. As the first thunder pierced the skies, the waters ran dry. Thus began the Age of Wisdom. People enjoyed untold wisdom, and that wisdom was their boon. Their prosperity brought pride and ambition, and the mind to question. So they questioned the heaven's authority, and schemed to enter the garden of the gods. And though they had promised to the people divine love, prosperity and wisdom, the envoys of heaven were angry, for to question eternity was forbidden, for earth to challenge sky, inexpiable. So the chief priest, who wore the white branch crown, went forth to appease the divine envoys. and into the deep places he went, seeking hidden wisdom of the silver tree in the ancient capital. This wisdom does not seem to have helped them. It may have even suggested that the priest take his people to war against Celestia. Regardless, the Divine dropped a Skyfrost nail from Celestia upon Dragonspine, shattering the Irminsul tree that blessed their land and blanketing the mountain in a raging blizzard that would block out even the moonlight, changing the once green mountain into a place where nothing would grow and the people would freeze to death overnight. The priest king Varuk and his daughter the princess would desperately try to find ways to survive this storm. The princess enlisted the help of an outlander named Immunlauka and gave him the star-silver greatsword to pierce the blizzard and find answers. Though each eventually accepted that the Divine did not forgive transgressions and that the fate of their people was to be lost to history like the civilizations of the past, the hero would not return in time to see the princess alive again. This city entombed in snow once had a proud, romantic name to call its own, just as the mountain itself was once lush and verdant in the ancient past. But after the nail that froze the skies over descended upon this mountain, the festive site where priests ascended to face the heavens can no longer hear its voice, nor will the priests ever return again. Varuk lost hope, as without divine intervention, his people were doomed. I thought that the young will grow strong and vital like cypresses, but these cypresses are about to wither. Their voices won't be carried by the wind anymore. My expectations towards them, as well as their faith in me, will all fall through. When the nail that froze the world descended suddenly, and that tree too would be shattered by it, that girl took the most complete branch, thinking to breathe new life into the tree that once overshadowed a nation. But in the end, the grafted life could not flourish. The cutting snowstorm eventually covered the moonlight like a curtain of countless blades. Even the princess eventually gave up on any efforts to survive this punishment and resigned herself to a quiet death. At the end, Varuk, the once king and chief priest of Sal Vindagnyr, decided to return to the abyss one final time. There, he came to a realization. They say that the line of chief priests have always seen this same sight as their days draw to an end. A mountain of crowns in a secret place beneath a withered tree, each one hiding a lifetime of secrets kept. Each retiring priest offers up their crown of flawless white branches to this world. Every mighty and ancient city and every austere place of sacrifice must one day return to profundity in the earth. All prosperity must someday end, but this does not mean that nothing is eternal. At the end of a cycle, the earth shall be renewed. Thus eternity is cyclical. The search for truth is a product of prosperity, and not the seed that plants it. A coded message can be found by interacting with the 9 shut-down rune guards around Dragonspine. I'll leave a link to the Reddit post that this was solved in the description below. The message reads, "For the nation, we can't forgo this skyborn power, but we failed." It seems to be referencing Celestia at first thought. If so, perhaps they were told to stop their advancement technologically. But the skyborn power is an ambiguous enough term that it could mean skyborn as in coming down from the stars, perhaps from another world, something alien, like the rune machines that are said to be. If this is the case, Celestia could still be fearful of their ancient enemy returning and defeating them this time around. Whatever the case, the Abyss does not give up easily and will keep using the nations it can to wage war with Celestia, eventually getting that nation destroyed in the process. We now have Sal Vindagnyr and Khaenri'ah on the list, with Shneznaya likely coming up next. A scribe from Dragonspine even mentions what is thought to be Khaenri'ah in this text. I've heard people who were building a nation without gods. Perhaps they'll have the power to stand against this world. So whatever alien power influences these nations from the abyss, it doesn't waste much time looking for a new host. Perhaps, as Varuk saw at the end, the pile of crowns holding secrets of past civilizations is a sort of databank for humanity's history, building up the collective knowledge to come back stronger the next time they face Celestia. Khaenri'ah fell, but maybe this time will be different, and the Tsaritsa has a better idea of what she is up against. I'm looking forward to finding out. And that's the video. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider letting me know by liking or subscribing, and if you have any questions or suggestions, please let me know in the comments section below. I hope you have a great day.